Good evening. Welcome to your City Commission special meeting and study session. Please turn off or silence all cell phones during the meeting. Meetings are available for viewing on YouTube. The first item on the agenda is to open a special meeting. I need a motion to open a
Make a
special
motion
meeting.
to open executive session, or open a meeting.
I'll second.
Okay. Been moved and seconded. Please begin voting. Commissioner Maxwell.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Holly.
Oh, aye. Sorry,
Aye.
I was reading the.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is executive session.
Oh, there we go.
Do we have the notes when we go into executive session?
It should be on there, but if not, I have it right here.
Oh, it's right here, okay. We will be 1 hour, correct? Okay. I move the city commission recess into executive session for 60 minutes for the purpose of discussing zoning matters in consultation with an attorney which would be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship pursuant to KSA 75-4319B2. City commission, city manager, planning and community development director, city attorneys will be present. The open meeting will resume in the city commission chambers at 7:01 p.m.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded. Please begin voting. Commissioner Wilson.
Aye.
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 All right. Let's go into executive session. We're back in session for a minute. We need to extend our executive session. I move the city commission recess again into executive session for 20 minutes for the purpose of discussing zoning matters and consultation with the attorney, which would be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship pursuant to KSA 754319B2. City commission, city manager, planning, community development director, and city attorneys will be present. The open meeting will resume in the city commission chambers at 7:21.
So moved.
Second, I moved.
Oh, second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. We're back in session.
Oh, right on time, too.
Yeah. No, I don't have to open the meeting again.
No, we're back in open session, so we just need a motion to close the special meeting.
Got it, okay. I need a motion to close the special meeting.
I'll make a motion to close the special meeting.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, please begin voting.
Aye.
Aye. Holly?
Holly.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right. There's a couple of others that come here. We'll get started. Library's up next. Have you been here the whole time?
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and have a
Well,
seat.
your engineer and I were swapping stories about the Montana and Wyoming,
Ah, good.
our favorite places.
Yes,
Come on, real quick.
go ahead. You need to go too?
I'm good. I went beforehand.
Yeah.
Let's see, are they the same across? Yes, they are.
These are not
Down,
finalized, but this is the, about ready for prime time, schedule of programs for the spring. Almost complete, but that's the best we have right now. There's still some things that need to be finalized.
Oh,
No, it's all right.
I don't know if I ever.
I got this in the mail.
Okay.
I've been meaning to come visit with you, but I just haven't made it over there yet. I've been distracted. Holly, I'm gonna drink your drink in a minute.
My orange drink.
we can go ahead and
There's
start.
my
I mean, I've already closed the
Yeah, go ahead.
special meeting, so let's go ahead and get started.
Okay. Well, I sent everything out in advance. I don't know if, is this working? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if everybody had a chance to read it. I know the last several pages are an addendum. It's information that I presented to the commission before, but I know 3 new members are at the table now, so I wanted to share some information about the sort of the difference between the expectations of what happened with the new building in '86 and the reality of where we are today. So I don't know if anybody has any questions about the general report about our business. As you can see, we're really thriving. We have a ton of people in the building. Our programs are doing great. Our circulation has increased. I did want to show everybody, because it's kind of tough to compare, but this will give you an idea of, compared to the other libraries in the area, the level of business that we're doing, the type of service we're providing. I'm not exactly a graphics meister, but the little graphs there are, I think, are pretty indicative. And you can see that in 2021, it was still post-COVID. We were still recovering from people's, the fact that we were closed, the fact that people kind of got out of the habit of coming to the library, the fact that a lot of people were still uncomfortable about being in public places with big crowds of people. But we're doing gangbuster business. We have a great crew. I think they're really responding well. Our mission statement of being a gathering place for everyone is clearly indicated by the number of people that are using the building, the facilities, the meetings, the meeting rooms, the meeting spaces, all of our services. The most interesting thing I thought was, if you go to page 3, the number of programs that we offered last year is 70% less than we did, but use was up 49%. So we are being more deliberate and careful and effective about choosing the types of programs that we do. The cost of circulation, basically, if we divide all of our city tax revenue by the items that we circulated, was $6.75 last year. And I know the average book costs about $20. So I think it is a return on investment for city tax dollars, the savings that we offer. I couldn't even do the math. If we were saving everybody $15 times the $100 and some thousand that we loaned last year, that's well over $1 million that people could have spent buying books. Instead, they borrowed them from us. Community engagement is another part of our plan. We did a strategic plan in 2022, and community engagement was one of the main goals that we had, and this is just a list of the different events that we attended representing the library in 2025. And we also visit a lot of preschools and do services for a lot of kids in those settings too. But the main thing I wanted to discuss, and I've mentioned this before, is a needs assessment for the library. I think it was 2022, maybe 23 is the first time I approached the city commission and asked for the support of a needs assessment. When the library was in the Carnegie building, everyone realized by the middle 80s it was no longer meeting community needs. There was no parking. There were not only structural issues that would have required some really expensive repairs. There were just not enough electrical outlets. I mean, there were ADA issues, so there were a lot of things about that library that we're not serving. So the idea was we'll do a needs assessment, we'll hire some architectural and design people to come in and help us assess and what we see the community needing, what kind of uses a community is going to have for the library and down the road, where we need to go. Can we make this Carnegie Library work, or should we look at other places and other sites? And in '84, the city voted to pay 75% of that cost. And as the needs assessment report was completed, it did say that there were, at the very last minute, I think there were about 7 different sites that were being considered for a new library. The grocery store was offered at the very last minute, and I know it was cheap. But the consultants, after going through the whole process of the needs assessment, after defining a building, after looking at space and lifespans of this and that, they said, well, if you move in here, you're already going to be 10,000 square feet shorter, less space than you said you needed. So the lifespan of the building was, I believe, projected at 25 years, and it's been 40. The addendum will talk about, the red quotes are directly from the needs assessment. So lighting and electrical systems, acoustical control, can only be entered by the physically handicapped with great difficulty. Deliveries and services are very difficult. Toilet facilities, so all of these items that were identified in 1984 still exist in the building today. And I know that the city has been doing a great job taking care of the facility. When we just had a bad experience this morning, found that our outside copper lines had been vandalized. Someone cut our air conditioning drain lines or copper, and it's gone. And I think the quote was a little over $21,000. So there was a constant investment, and the city's done a great job. The roof right now is they're putting that coating on the roof that should prevent the leaks. But I would ask that I think a more comprehensive approach to more than stopping leaks and more than repairing windows and more than replacing lights is overdue. We're not sure, and I know I've been asked it a couple of times when I've made this pitch, that how much is it going to cost? I don't know. But I know that the city just hired a firm to do a needs assessment of her housing, and the way that it worked, you developed your scope, you had the project, you let it out, and I think the company that was hired was about $54,000. That was a quote. I had talked to several people in the library design business before I made presentations before, and they said $50,000 to $60,000 is probably ballpark for the scope. On page 6, we already developed a scope with a group of people that we put together, and I know Brian was involved in that, reviewed it. I'm not very familiar with construction in Kansas. I've done libraries in 4 different states, but I'm not familiar with all the ins and outs of how it works in Kansas, contracting law and things like that. So I asked Brian to take a look at it. He said, yeah, it's pretty standard. This is the kind of information you want from companies. So we do have a scope. We do have something that we could just dust off and just publish if we could get the city's support to help us pay for the cost. The first people I met with was a former city manager in January of 23, I think. And he said it would probably help the commission make a decision if you had some money on the table. We now have $27,500 that would roughly pay half of that needs assessment. And I know right now you're talking about budget for 27. I would like to encourage you or ask your support to, if we can't even afford it this year, and I'm not sure, I mean, the budget's set, all kinds of weird things have happened already that have cost more money to repair the library than anyone expected. But I would hope that when you're developing your 27 budget, you consider building that into the CIP or wherever would be appropriate. We have 27,000, and again, if the city could match that, the library board, I'm sure would be, if this went out and all the bids came in and it was good, the best qualified firm wants 60, I'm sure the library board would say, yes, we have the money to bridge that gap between support from the city and the funds that have been raised by the library for this specific need. So it would be a more comprehensive look at not only the building that we're in now, the part of it would be just like in 1984, is this building suitable for the future? If not, what are the options? There are plenty of qualified library design professionals out there that have done a lot of great work. And it's kind of a lifetime thing. The original library was built in 1902, I believe it opened. And then in 86, moved out. So it's about 60 years, and we're hitting 40 on the building we're in now. And I know that the repair needs of the city has just been great with taking care of all of that. But I think there are efficiencies that could be realized in a different structure. The way the library operates could be much more efficient. One of the things that we have is our loading dock is 6 feet over the ground. Every book that comes in and out of that building that we borrow or share with other libraries has to get lifted up through this doorway. Our staff has to lean out over a yawning pit. 13.1 tons of material was manually lifted in and out of that last year. Where our book drop is located, we traveled 107 miles when you add up how many times we walk from our front desk through our front door to that book drop and back. If that was designed differently, if that came into the back of a room where the circulation department could just grab it right there, check it in, put it on a cart, and it's rolled out to public access, that would be a massive efficiency. All of our processing is done upstairs, so the thousands of books and items that we add every year come in, take it upstairs, roll it in a cart back down. Again, if I counted the number of miles that the books have to travel just to go from being cataloged to available to the public, I'm sure it would be pretty hefty. It's about 110 feet per trip times hundreds of trips for the year. The original, part of the original needs assessment said the sight lines, that the library could be staffed with fewer people if the sight lines were improved. And when you stand at our surf desk now, we can't see most of the library because there's a wall here, there's a wall there are tall shelves here. So a different floor plan, a different design, I know very well could make our operations more efficient. The number of meeting spaces and the way that people use libraries are very different. It's not just a store place for books anymore, although we're circulating a lot of stuff. The people use it as a center. They're meetings, community programs that we do. We have a lot of demand for smaller meeting rooms. If you've ever been at the Tonganoxie Library, you'll see that they've got smaller rooms there that people come in and if they want to work together as a team, we let them in the Kansas room now. We let them into the boardroom upstairs as long as we're open. We have one small meeting room, one small room that's barely fits 2 people. But we have people out there that are at a table, they're talking about things, and they're in the middle of the library. Anyone can hear anything they're talking about. The level of conversation in a great big open room like that, we're talking on the phone, they're talking, people are over here trying to use the internet. There are just no quiet places in the building where people can work together, can conduct small meetings. We have people that do job counseling and other kinds of things. And I mean, they're asking people questions about personally identifying information at a table 10 feet away from people using the internet or people browsing books because there's literally no other place for it. Then this may seem like, well, libraries are just about, that's all people do or borrow books, but that is certainly not the case. And it's not just here. Libraries as gathering places and program places and meeting places are definitely a trend that is, I can't see it going away. We have more and more demand for those meeting rooms all the time. So there are better ways that the library could be organized, the space could be arranged, it could be designed. Whether it's in that building, I don't know. and that's what I try to encourage my board to keep an open mind about it. Look at what they did in '84. Nobody said, well, this has to be here. Everyone knew they had to leave the Carnegie. It just wasn't going to cut it anymore. But the idea was, well, let's find the best place, the most convenient place with the best access and work from that point. So until we have a needs assessment done, it's impossible really to tell what long-term solutions are available or who can do them and how much it's going to cost or where the place is going to be located. But I would hope that everyone in this room is, you have a vision, you're going to talk about your comprehensive plan tonight. And on page 27 of that plan, there's a plan development. Strategy 1 is to encourage all residents to participate fully in social, cultural, and economic life of the community. And item number 2 is to conduct a library facilities plan or feasibility study that includes a cultural center. And some of these ideas were mentioned specifically at the time, but the idea that a more comprehensive view of a library facility that serves the community was incorporated in that plan. I'd like to see it followed through. I'd like to collaborate with the city. We've been partners for over 100 years. I think the library has served the community well. The commissioners have certainly supported the library very well, better than really any other place I've been, where you've constantly struggled. Libraries in a fight over money with the police and fire department are never going to win. So I would really like to see you seriously consider and build in maybe a $27,000 amount for 27. And I know that's over a year away, but that's just the way the budgeting cycle works. We could certainly match that and more, and hopefully within a few months of that being performed, we'll have a solid view. And I definitely would like Brian or someone else in the city involved, because I don't know construction, I don't know law, I don't know a lot of those things about the way that the contracting works in Kansas. And also, you have a trusted voice who is in the room with us. I know most public agencies will, you don't want to build a Taj Mahal, that's the thing you hear all the time. And I certainly have never done that ever in my career. I've built a library, I've renovated one and done historic preservation in one. It's never, public dollars are hard to come by. I do my absolute best to make sure that we operate as efficiently as possible. No one on our board is interested in some kind of ego monument. I've seen some really bad things happen in libraries, design flaws that happen because someone wanted something grandiose. Never going to happen.
Matt, I think you do a great job. I think the library is a great resource, and I would certainly be open to looking at that for our budget for 2027. I echo everything you say. I had a meeting there the other day. It was out in the middle of, and I wasn't worried about me hearing what I was talking to my friend about. I was worried about me interrupting somebody else, right? Because we were talking.
Right.
There was nowhere else to go. So I appreciate all your points. I appreciate you coming here, and I would definitely be open to looking at that to our budget.
Thank you very much.
I just have a couple of questions.
Yes.
The current budget for the library, is it $4 million?
I think city, it's about 1.2.
1.2?
Yeah, we got a 3.75. In '86, the city passed a charter ordinance.
Pass through.
Yeah, the city passed a charter ordinance in 1986 that said the library can ask for up to 3.75 mils. Nothing above that. To get anything higher than that, the city would have to amend that ordinance. And for about 2 years straight, we did not ask for the full amount. We were under the 3.75 mil rate. We're revenue neutral. But for the last year, for this coming budget, we did ask for the 3.75 mils. We have a surplus, but we've been digging into that for about 6 years straight. And we don't think that's a supportable way to maintain operations. If that money goes away, then we have nothing to fall back on. And
Sure.
certainly no one would ask, well, guess what? We need 5 mils this year just to pay everybody.
Out of curiosity, what is that reserve?
Ooh, we haven't been audited yet. It's probably around I would say it's probably around 700,000.
Okay.
And I know the general rule of thumb is 3 months of operating costs. And our operating costs are about 130,000 a month now.
130,000 a month?
Roughly.
Wow.
And we dedicate every dime we can to direct public services. Part of the issue I faced when I started was the library employees were the lowest paid public employees in the county. The starting rate was $7.50. You could make more across the street at Pizza Hut. So we have continually worked to improve pay rates, and right now we are competitive with the city. And I looked at the city as our peers because we're paid from the same tax base, we serve the same community, we live in the same place, so the expenses are pretty standard. So we're not the lowest paid anymore. Which is a good thing. That's one of the reasons why I think our business has really improved, is we are able to attract and retain some pretty high quality employees. With $7.50 an hour, someone's looking for their next job the first day on that job. We were going through 14, 15 people a year. And that's a giant expense to hire and train someone only to have them disappear in a couple of months.
So what's the starting rate now?
16.
16.
Any other questions?
No, I echo what Holly said. That doc is crazy. Like, I do HR in my day job, and like that feels so hazardous. You literally just open the door, and you should go check it out. It's literally insane. It's like just a drop off.
Oh, the back.
Yeah, that is just nuts. So, but besides the point, yeah, I think the needs assessment is gonna have to happen at some point, right? So I would support looking at that for the 27 budget.
If there any kind of data that you would like me to provide, I mean, if there's one thing I do, it's keep track. I've got a spreadsheet that goes back to 2012 that lists every single line item, what we budgeted, spent, and had left over. And we've used that to guide our budget decisions. If they're consistently over in one area and below in the next, we reallocate. We add new services all the time, so some of those line items have basically gone away because we don't buy video cassettes anymore. We don't buy a lot of those things anymore. We are required to spend at least 12% of our total budget on material in order to maintain about a $90,000 grant we received from our regional library. We're closer to 14% on that. So we really do try. I mean, a library is just a building. People come there to get treated well by staff that you have to pay well, and to use collections that you have to support. So we dedicate as much as we can to both of those needs, and try to find cheaper paper pens and pencils.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you. Thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for waiting for us.
Yeah.
Next item on the agenda, insurance program review and strategic options discussion. Mike Bradley.
Madam Mayor, members of the commission, thank you for your time tonight. I'm not asking for anything tonight. This is just a summary of kind of where we're at. I know at the December meeting, it's rushed. Several of you are new to the commission, so Sarah and I thought it'd be a good opportunity to come back, give you a little history, give you a little idea of where we've been and where we're headed. Good example from the previous discussion, that claim from today with the air conditioning covered.
Good.
So, I believe they have this, Sarah?
Yes.
All right. Okay, so I put together a little 3-page, just, I guess, presentation for you. I'll go fairly quickly, but I wanted to give you some premium history just so you could see trend, right? So going back to 2019, we're at $425,000 for the program. It jumps 22% to $522,000, and both of those years were with One Beacon Insurance. At that time, we went to the marketplace, we found a better home, we went down 21% the previous year. You can read the math. My point of showing you at least almost an 8 or 9 year history here is the insurance marketplace does ebb and flow quite a bit, and sometimes changing carriers forces that insurance marketplace to ebb and flow. Over the, probably 28 or 29 years that I've been involved in the program, we really only had 3 or 4 different insurance carriers, primarily because in the insurance marketplace for public entities in Kansas municipalities, there are very few carriers that will write all of the coverages, especially from a liability perspective, so we don't participate in a lot of gaps. So for those number of years, Travelers has been the lead dog. One Beacon came in for a period of 6 or 7 years, and then we're back to Travelers and Chubb on the property. I also want to provide a little bit of history from a claims perspective over those, not all those years, but roughly those years. So you can see total losses And then a loss ratio. Loss ratio is a premium dollar in and a loss or a claim being paid out, right? So 2021, $314,000 in losses, a 76% loss ratio. For every $1 in premium, 76 cents was paid out in losses. Over 5 years, $2.6 million roughly in premium, roughly $1 million in losses paid for a 39% loss ratio. Anything under 50, I will tell you from an insurance carrier perspective, is really good, right? So from that perspective, Leavenworth City is looking very strong at this point in time. Anything from 50 to 60%, and then over 60, they really start not liking accounts because that's not factored in their expense, that's not factored in any profit, that is just dollar in, dollar out. So again, 22-year history with Travelers, one Beacon 5 or 6 years, Travelers is back in the game. Travelers and Chubb, as I mentioned in December, are truly gold standard carriers, meaning that they are extremely reliable, extremely financially stable, great claims paying, A+ rated from all the indices, Standard & Poor's, AM Best. So truly what I would call gold standard. So why the recent jumps over the past 2 or 3 or 4 years? And again, I will tell you, part of it is the marketplace ebbing and flowing. Extreme uncertainty in the property and casualty world really since 2022, which was the worst year in the insurance industry history. In fact, I've got several articles that I could show you and send to you that says in 2022 there were $26.2 billion in losses. You've read the articles as well where State Farm pulled out of California. They're not writing, new business in Florida. So the industry is really trying to figure out how to pay for claims, how to bring in enough premium dollars, and where, quite honestly, and what to insure. Catastrophic claims associated with hurricanes, wildfires. I know we all like to sit back and think, well, wildfires in Maui don't affect us here in Leavenworth, Kansas. Yes, they do, right? Hurricanes in Florida affect us because insurance companies pay those claims, and insurance companies like Travelers and Chubb are significant insurers in many of these areas. Inflation, you felt it personally, you felt it from a city perspective. Certainly, from an insurance perspective, carriers feel that as well. Cost of reconstruction and property due to extreme inflation costs associated with labor and materials has certainly skyrocketed claims. Supply chains, another issue, not only from a property perspective, but also if you have bumped into anybody in your car, if you have tried to get your car repaired, your car is going to take 2 or 3 or 4 months potentially to get repaired, depending on the situation, because no one is holding inventory anymore from a parts perspective, a supply chain issue. So when you look at things like, the time of a claim, and insurance carriers have risk in time of a claim. They pay for loss of use. So those kind of things do affect how claims are adjudicated. Reinsurance costs. I think I mentioned this back in December. Insurance companies buy insurance. They take their book of business and they don't want to assume all of that risk, so they go buy insurance. It's called reinsurance. And there are specific reinsurance carriers out there. And their cost of insurance has gone up, right? Very similar along the lines of what you see from your rate perspective, because they're touching those reinsurance policies more with larger claims. And then we've got some record-breaking jury awards, right? Certainly with auto and with some of the specific coverages that we have for municipalities with law enforcement liability, public official liability. You all are in the middle of some of that stuff. You have seen some of those claims that I call them nuclear jury awards, but they're sometimes just large, impactful awards that really jolt an insurance program or a community from large claims. But we are seeing jury awards really, really jump up. In my 34 history now, in the first 25 years, our agency had not had an umbrella claim. An umbrella is a specific policy over and above your standard insurance. Hadn't had one. And in the past 7 or 8 years, we've had multiple claims that have hit umbrellas simply because of jury awards, large awards that have been that have hit. Your current program, as we mentioned back in December, is extremely comprehensive. It's well-rounded. It is first dollar and it is guaranteed, meaning you pay your premium and per the language in the contract, subject to deductibles and terms, the insurance company is going to pay claims, right? If you have a horrible year, they cannot charge you more premium than they have agreed to charge you during that term. So these types of programs are called guaranteed costs because subject to deductible, they are just that. They're guaranteed costs. You know your annual spend. There's no risk assessment or risk of an assessment. There's no additional premium due. They are quite honestly the easy button, right? They are, I want to insure everything I own. I got deductibles and there's terms and conditions that may or may not apply. But I know I'm spending X, right? It's kind of the easy button. Options going forward. I recognize that, obviously you can look at the premium history, and I do feel like we are, Sarah and I were talking when you were in executive session, I feel like we are in the middle of an ebb and flow where the insurance industry has done this and things are softening a little bit. That will play out over the next 10 months, right? If there is a major hailstorm in Leavenworth County, Kansas, I will retract that entire statement. But I do feel like things are softening in the insurance marketplace as a whole. What that means at the end of the day is yet to be determined. So I think we should go down with staff what I would consider to be 4 paths right now so that we don't just wake up December 12th and get a 25% rate increase. Number 1, the option is stay the course, right? Guaranteed cost program, wait for the market to ebb and flow, which it will in time. Going in that it is a guaranteed cost program. We go to the insurance marketplace every year, every few years to get the best terms from an insurance carrier, premium, all those kind of things. And we get what the market offers us. That's option 1. Option 2 is similar, is stay the course, but, modify the guaranteed cost program and take a little bit more ownership from what I would say is a self-insurance role, right? Currently, as we sit today, there is not much, and let's just think about it from a property perspective, that the city of Leavenworth owns or maintains that we're not covering, right? From small signs to statues to park bathrooms, chain link fences, street lights, all those kinds of things are covered under the current program. So part of a potential path number 2 would be to stay on a guaranteed cost program, but really start looking at those items a little bit more in depth and say, you know what, maybe we shouldn't insure buildings that are valued under $100,000. And what would that do to affect the premium? Maybe we shouldn't insure every piece of equipment that we have over $5,000. Maybe that limit should be $25,000. Those are the kind of things I think that we can work with staff to say, all right, let's look at that and see what the premium savings is, what that ends up at the end of the day. But it does come back to you at the end of the day, right? If we no longer insure the signs on 20th Street for Wagga Wagga and somebody rolls into that sign and there's no insurance on it and it's a $75,000 bill, that comes back to your desk. I understand that. So those are kind of the things that we could go down the path and look at. The third option, more of a large deductible program. This is kind of moving towards partial self-insurance, right? Where we pick limits based off of your previous history, working with insurance carriers, to determine what would be the best program to have specific deductible stop-loss limits and then aggregate limits. So you would pick up, let's just play it out, the first $100,000 of every claim to a stop-loss of, say, $500,000 for the year. Your premium gets significantly reduced as a result of a program like that, but you are now in the insurance business. You are paying those claims that pop up. You are paying the small things that happen. And so you're really betting on that the fact that you can manage your losses better than an insurance company. You would still have a small insurance premium, much like insurance carriers do today. You buy reinsurance over those loss limits, but you are picking up more of a significant first dollar for any claim you have. It's much easier to do for property items or items that you own. If you think about from an auto fleet perspective, the physical damage aspect of it is much easier to do in that regard versus, say, a liability perspective, right? So if you own 10 dump trucks, we can do the math to say, all right, a dump truck is going to cost X to probably fix if we total it or close to total. From a liability perspective, if you really damage somebody with that dump truck, that's a much bigger issue. So typically we see those programs that are more geared toward the assets that you own versus the liability piece. Okay?
We would have to budget that in, right? We'd have to budget amounts in to cover.
So your
those
premium gets
potential-
substantially reduced, but now
You're still paying the same.
now you're in the
as we're-
insurance business. And
Yeah.
really, it's a gamble.
Yeah.
You know, it's a gamble, but it's hopefully an educated guess gamble, right? But yes, you are in the insurance business.
Got it.
And then finally, really start looking at potential self-insured pools or group pooling arrangements. There are a few options out there that we will go down the path with staff. We are actually, we're set to have a meeting in the next 10 days internally in our office to talk about your account with a specific pool. A pooled arrangement is really not traditional insurance. You're taking a group of entities, and typically in the same business class, like cities, counties, municipalities, and you are pooling funds. There is a way that they come up with an estimated buy-in, which is like a premium based off of your exposures. You send money to the pool, and the pool pays claims, much like you would on a purely self-insurance basis. But they do it for a group of people. So they too then buy insurance over and above those specific claims, right? So they're going to buy reinsurance in case something really bad happens, right? But it's really not traditional insurance.
It would be more like League of Municipalities, Kansas Municipalities type of thing.
Just like that, exactly.
got it.
Very similar. So there's some things that we really have to pay attention to in pooled situations, and you have to understand that if there's a hailstorm out in Salina, Kansas, and Salina, Kansas is part of the pool, your insurance dollars are going to pay for Salina claims, right? Not picking on Salina, just saying that's the reality. So your local tax dollars are being spent other places. You could have a great year, no claims, and if the pool doesn't perform well because of catastrophic losses in other parts of the state, for instance, then that impacts your experience, right? So it's really a shift of, again, that first dollar program, kind of looking at what we could do internally. It's really more of looking externally and saying, we feel like we can, with these 40 or 50 or 100 different entities, perform better. There are typically some very strict rules in those pools that we would want to make sure we understand. Typically can't just hop in and hop out, right? So like we really like it this year, but if they raise our rates 30%, we want to leave next year. Typically they have a 6 or 7 year runtime where you have to notify them that we want to leave. Now that's really difficult to do, right? I want to leave in 6 years. I don't know what your price is going to look like or the world's going to look like in 6 years, but we're notified that we want to leave. Then you have contingent liability. After you leave, you got a runtime that while you were in the pool, if liability claims mature,
I don't think I'd want to.
that you're going to continue to
I don't
have
like pools
to
either.
participate in those claims. So we're going to look, unless I hear from you that maybe don't go path 1, 2, 3, or 4. My thought right now is to go down at least all 4 paths to at least come back to you at 2, 3, 4
Doesn't
months
hurt.
from now to say, all right, we think we have some decent options here, here, and here, and what number 1, 2, 3, and 4 might look like.
I think that's a great idea. Let's do it.
Can I ask, as for option 2, for example, do we have different deductibles based on what ends up happening? And like you were talking about the Wagga Wagga sign. So could we always say, okay, if, like, let's say the deductible for that is 5,000, but it wouldn't necessarily ever cost more than 5,000? I don't know, I'm just throwing
Right.
stuff out.
Yes.
Could we look at the deductible versus how much it would cost to replace the whole thing and maybe choose based on that, since we,
Not
I'm
turn it
assuming the
into insurance.
deductible is per incident,
It
right?
is.
Like workers' comp is? Yeah.
Correct. But as we sit today, yes, you have different deductibles
Okay.
for different claims.
Yeah.
Auto, property, equipment, all of those things have different deductibles,
Yeah.
right? So, it's very similar from like an auto, let's talk about,
Yeah.
let's talk about auto.
Right.
And if I have a $1,000 deductible on my personal auto, a lot of people think, well, I'm gonna double my deductible to 2,000. My premium's gonna get cut in half.
Yeah,
Your
Right.
premium might move $12 a year,
right,
right?
right.
So it needs to be a significant shift, right?
Gotcha.
Our current deductibles are fairly insignificant, except where it comes from some wind and hail. right?
Sure.
But even that was significantly reduced. So number two would be really looking at it and saying, I think more along the lines of, yes, we can look at deductibles and increasing some deductibles. That doesn't typically move much premium out.
Right,
We were going down the road of maybe looking at saying, all right, again, instead of insuring every $10,000 mower we own, perhaps we should maybe start at 25,000.
sure, that makes sense.
Those kind of things.
Yeah.
Not every building that we own that's $20,000 maybe needs to be insured when it's a cinder block, 40-year-old bathroom in a park.
Yeah,
Those kind of things. Everything costs premium dollars.
yeah,
And at the end of the day, it's nice to have that warm and fuzzy, but really, at the end of the day, do we need to buy insurance on that kind of thing?
right. My other question is for the loss ratio, when Travelers issues the premium increase, how many years do they look, or do they take into account, do you know?
They're gonna look back usually 3 years.
3 years?
Yeah. I
Cause
mean,
that 74s might fall off, so it might,
Yes,
that might be beneficial next year
100%,
potentially.
100%.
Or we could use that to negotiate maybe with a different
yes,
place, since we've been with Travelers for quite a while.
correct.
Okay,
Yeah, they're usually gonna look at about a 3-year
okay,
tailing
sure,
effort. So,
Okay.
we'll definitely be involved in, again, the good news is you're still at 39%.
yeah,
You're really, you're one of the few municipalities your size that is left with the Travelers. They have really trended towards super large municipalities.
okay,
And so the fact that you're sitting at a really good loss ratio is
Yeah.
one of the reasons for that.
yeah.
Good to know.
I think it makes sense to at least look at the different options. I don't like pooling though.
I get it.
I do benefits, I used to do payroll benefits for USD 207. We've looked at self-insuring for like health, and we're like, ew. Like,
It's a different animal.
it is a different animal, that's true, because if your loss ratio gets below, if we ever had a loss ratio in health of 39%, that would be crazy.
Crazy. Yeah, you'd do it
Yeah, we'd be like for free, so,
Yeah.
thank you.
you bet.
Thank you.
Great.
Thanks,
All
Mike.
right.
Thanks, Mike.
Glad you're here.
Thank you all.
Okay, next item on the agenda, Leavenworth 2030 Comprehensive Plan Update.
I have a PowerPoint, but I will keep it brief tonight. Evening, Mayor and Commission. This is my 5th year presenting the Comprehensive Plan Update. It's a great opportunity to showcase some of the great work the city does. Each department has sent in their updates. The full update is included in your packet, really to share with the community the work that's been going on by the city. So a brief background on the comprehensive plan. I apologize, those of you who heard me do this now for 5 years, Mayor. It was adopted in June of 2021. This was a professionally facilitated process. It really had the highest level of community outreach. We don't do this very often. When we do this, we do every effort to get all the voices to the table to be heard in the comprehensive plan. It's a full 161-page plan. I'm sure everyone knows this by heart at this point, so I will just cover the highlights. It lists a lot of goals, strategies, and local action items. And resources are required to accomplish each of those, which means while we would love to do everything in the plan, it comes down to what the commission's priorities are based on what resources that we have. The importance of the comprehensive plan. Planners would say this is a document that is required for planning and zoning decisions. It's a primary reference document. It's also, again, an opportunity to showcase city action. Projects and programs that accomplish multiple goals may be the ones that could be prioritized. So if there's something that, let's say, helps with a healthy activity and bringing people together in the downtown and makes it more ADA accessible, when you meet multiple goals, those might be areas that should be prioritized. And then it's also an invitation for local and regional partnership. So when we look at what can the city do, we can do a certain amount of this on our own. We can do a lot more of what's in this comprehensive plan if we work with other partners. So a quick update on the structure of the comprehensive plan. It is broken up into 6 chapters. I have one slide for each of the chapters, so it's a very brief slideshow presentation. Each of those chapters includes broad goals, strategies, and local actions. The local actions are the specific actions, sort of the tasks. When you look at the update, you'll see that the ones that were local actions have specifically listed after that what that local action was. It also includes, the update includes items that we did that met the overall goals, but maybe weren't thought of when the plan was worked on in 2020 and 2021. So those may not be called out specifically, but they contribute to the goals. We wanted to highlight that work. So chapter 1 of 6 chapters. The first one is community identity. I like this slide because it highlights work that was done all in conjunction with partners. So the Greenwood Cemetery volunteers, I love to highlight the work that they do. They were passionate about the local cemetery and restoring it. So they have been fundraising. They had it placed on the historic registry. And in March this year, they actually did work to preserve the headstones there. So a very active group. Again, it would take the city hiring staff and doing resources, so it's really great that we're able to partner with the group that's working on the cemetery. The city provided $50,000 for the Buffalo Bill Wild West and Military History Festival. The city led a small business task force to start looking at building preservation. That's one of the items about our community identities, our history. So we have the festival, looking at how do we preserve, especially our downtown and existing buildings is a big focus. And community identity is also bring people together. That's one of the items you'll see in the comprehensive plan. So this was the year the city launched the texting service. It promotes events and information along with what's going on when we have a snow emergency and other items. And in 2025, the city connected with sister cities in Wagga Wagga, Australia through the delegation's visit and with the visit from Omi Hachimon, Japan. Oops, that's the wrong way. The second slide, I had so much to put on here, I couldn't even fit a photo on. But to highlight a few things that were done to support building the infrastructure in the city. The planning department pursued their 7th Street corridor study. That was using a MARC grant of $58,000. I think we are awaiting the results of that study. That's still in progress, but they started that in 2025. Public Works, who does a great job applying for grants, applied for and received a transportation alternative grants, and that will make 100 downtown sidewalk ramps ADA accessible. That's a really great built environment project. Staff worked with Black & Veatch to develop the long-term plan for the wastewater treatment plant. Parks and Recreation did a lot of work on the indoor pool. They did maintenance there and upgraded the lighting to LED, which was more sustainable. The IT department, who usually works in the background, developed plans to mitigate emerging cyber threats and ensure resilience for the city this year. It seemed like we had to lean on some of that, which was helpful that they had planned on that earlier in the year. And the Finance Department programmed a 5% increase for local streets, growing the budget to $2.2 million. That was one of the specifically listed items in the comprehensive plan in 2020, 2021, was to spend more money specifically on our streets. We know we're still not keeping up, as you'll hear more about as we plan for the budget, but we did some creative things, borrowing less to try to increase the amount that we're using on our streets. And then the mayor and the city manager advocated for transportation and infrastructure funding during their visit to Washington, D.C. Harmony with nature. This is one, you can see I have a fewer highlights than some of the other ones. When you look at the comp plan, this hasn't necessarily been the area that has been prioritized the most. Certainly worth looking at and seeing if some of those items listed there maybe are worth a revisit and higher priorities. What was done in 2025 is Public Works worked on a lot of stormwater projects to improve local waterways and reduce flooding. We furthered discussions with Leavenworth County Emergency Management, and local nonprofits performed 3 Mile Creek Cleanup Monthly. I think they do that for 10 months of the year. That's run through Parks and Recreation. It keeps the area nice and also provides a small amount of funding for our local nonprofits. Resilient Economy is the 4th chapter. So the city arranged for KSHB, a story featuring downtown Leavenworth to talk about our growth and city grants. It was great to see us featured there. We worked with LCDC to submit the Leavenworth Business and Technology Park for several large projects that we are awaiting word on. 90 attendees attended the Business Symposium in November. Camp Leavenworth featured over 20 local craft vendors. What we did is for Camp Leavenworth, we featured them in advance. So they were not only there selling their crafts at the event, but they also had the opportunity to be showcased on our social media. So I want to keep highlighting our local businesses any way we can. The Ride LV Transit program, which is used partially to get people to work, continued for the 3rd year. And the city put forth $71,000 in small business grants to work on downtown and other building investments. So that was quite a good investment from the city last year. Healthy community, the police department, this includes mental health and health and some other items. The police department continued to utilize mental health responder. I spelled that wrong, we'll move past that. They also participated in the homelessness task force, again, bringing together local groups to try to pool our resources and ideas to solve, as we can, this challenging issue. Construction continued on new Fire Station 3. I'm told the next couple of months should see that project be completed, and we're excited about that. Parks and Recreation did a lot to benefit our community for comp plan goals. They added additional paved trails to Havens Park. The new ADA chairlift, recessed wall steps, and accessible entry steps were included with the indoor pool renovations. The pickleball court added shade structures at Cody Park, and those continue to be very well utilized. And the Parks and Recreation launched Youth Pickleball League starting in 2025. And the last chapter is land use and community design. The big highlight here is the housing needs assessment for a potential RHID incentive policy. That project was begun in 2025, hired Baker Tilly, and that is currently in progress. Also, we're waiting for the results of that study coming out shortly. So the key points for the comprehensive plan is that there was a lot of work done in 2025.
You are.
Really, this is the commission, staff, and partners coming together to move the city forward. And we continue to make progress. That progress really is based on commission priorities and resources. So we're going to walk in March into a goal-setting session where these could be some items that we discuss. We'll also walk into the budget. So as we look at how we move the city forward with our limited resources, where does the commission think we should prioritize? So that's the brief update that I have for you. Again, encourage everyone to really read what the department sent, included in the full packet. I'm available to answer questions if you have them.
Good update.
Great job.
Good job, Penny.
Thank you.
I've lost faces that picture.
It just looks
I
like
mean, it
we're
looks
in
like you're
trouble.
yelling at us.
Yeah, it looks like we're in trouble.
Probably were, you probably were.
Up to no good.
Okay.
That's so funny.
Next item on the agenda, review draft of 2025 KDHE annual report for stormwater.
Thank you. I'll go fairly quickly on this one this evening. This is to review our KDHE report for 2025. This is something we do every February in two parts. The first part is this evening, where we just basically talk about what we did and ask for input from you and the public over the next week. And then the second part would be next week at the February 24th meeting, where we ask to adopt a resolution and provide any comments that we do receive. For background, the city of Leavenworth is regulated by the Kansas Department of Health and Environment and the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, or EPA, as a Phase 2 city for stormwater purposes. The city has been required to submit an annual report every year since 2003. The report summarizes the action the city has taken the previous year to protect and enhance stormwater quality. The guidelines for the activities are set by the revised stormwater management plan that was adopted by the City Commission in 2020. The key narratives of the report are the executive summary, but the really big thing that they look at are our 6 minimum control measures. Everybody has to have those same minimum control measures: public education and outreach, public involvement and participation, illicit discharge detection and elimination, construction site stormwater runoff and control, post-construction stormwater management, and pollution prevention and good housekeeping. And for each of these minimum control measures, we have to get a certain number of points. It's usually 6 or 7 points. If we take credit for something this year, and we may get 3 points for it, next year we might just get 2. So they want us to keep adding things as we go to make sure that we're doing what we can to protect the environment. We do meet all these this year. We do meet all the point requirements. Several of them were way above. Some of them were just, we need 7, we just got 7. One of the things that hurt us this past year, we were not able to do the spring cleanup in 2025. And so we lost points for that.
You are doing that this year, though.
Yeah, April 11th.
Yes.
I'm ready.
This year.
Yes.
It's been a pretty good year. We have a lot of stormwater projects. We've been keeping our website up to speed. So if you go to our website under construction projects and stormwater, that will be up to date with everything that's occurring. When you do look through the minimum control measures, they look at best management practices, or BMPs, and there's a whole list of maybe 10 or 15 ones we can choose from. So you may see BMP 1, BMP 2, BMP 7, BM 12. So we don't have to do every single one of them. We just have to pick the ones that we can accomplish and take credit for those. So that's really all I've got. But happy to answer any questions. Like I said, this is something we do every single year since 2003. So I guess this is our 23rd year of doing this.
What are we looking like this year for stormwater improvement?
A lot of projects. We just finished 6 in Chestnut a few weeks ago. 6 in Walnut, we got 3 bids, quotes for that project. And that is just actually opening it up before the spring rains. We had some backup issues and some flooding issues there. So the first part of that is opening it up so it drains, and then we'll come back with another project. We also plan on doing at Doherty Park this year, that line that collapsed. We have several other projects in work right now. And then one thing is, construction's kind of slowed down as far as we don't have a lot of buildable lots anymore. I would love to get some more development in town. But anybody that has a land development permit, someone that is tearing up the ground, they're required to evaluate their erosion control measures after every half-inch rain. And so we have weather gauges all around town. We have City Hall, a wastewater plant, at Brewer School. And so if we get more than a half-inch of rain, we do send out a notice to everybody that has a land development permit that they have to check their control measures and correct anything that's wrong. So we're trying to be proactive on that.
That's good. That looks good.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
So if you hear any comments in the next week, just let us know, and it's on our website,
Okay.
so people can comment on it.
And then we'll vote to approve this at the next meeting.
Okay. Thank
Maybe
you.
another-
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry you were here so long.
Anything else around the table?
I just bought a copy of the ACA
good.
standards while we're here, so
All right,
if anybody wants to come take a look at them in my
Can you
office.
send them out? Or do you have to buy an
they're
individual?
huge.
I cannot share them, but if someone were to log in to my account,
Like in front of you.
yeah, I don't know how
Are
that
they
would,
expensive?
$70 a piece.
Ooh. When do you get it?
I already got it.
Oh, because it's electronic. Okay. Gotcha.
You could come in and look at it sometime.
Yep. If you have anything that you want to search for.
Excellent.
Other than that, don't think I have anything.
Right.
I already shared with Scott what I had, so we're good.
So you're not gonna share it with the rest of us,
Yeah.
right?
Was over there behind Island Spice and I found a piece of concrete in the middle of the driveway, so
Oh.
I'm just trying to get that remedied and get it out of there before we buy a car.
Consider it passed along, right? There's a piece of concrete behind Island Spice.
Yeah, it's right there in the main drive down the alley. I just don't wanna get in,
My only thing is I had a concern from someone about the Tongi and Limit intersection, which I'm sure has probably happened also before.
Okay.
They want to know how to kind of address that concern, or if there needs to be like a petition or something.
That's a regular thing.
Yeah.
We're gonna study in the
We
safety study.
We had it in the safety study.
We did.
Like, we had people try to highlight it, but people didn't even go, like, I encouraged people to go drop a pin.
Oh,
And then, I mean, I dropped one.
I did too.
But there was hardly anybody that,
It didn't get traffic or, no pun intended.
It is a, yeah.
it is about, it's, yeah,
bad
when they're coming
spot.
down that hill or on their, yeah, I agree.
Maybe that's something we could look into at some point, I don't know.
Okay.
That's it for me.
Joe?
I had somebody reach out and, about the alley behind Tenpenny and talked with Scott and that got all taken care of, so I appreciate that.
What was wrong with it?
The apartments
pothole?
back there, it was starting to degrade underneath the driveway.
Yeah.
And, I made a call to Scott and next thing I know, I get a text saying it was taken care of, so great job, thank you.
Awesome. Can you remind me when our all-day goal setting is?
March 2nd.
March 2nd.
It's not all, that one's not all day, that's only a half day.
Half day.
And are those, the things that we went through tonight, the comprehensive, are we gonna include some of those in our goals?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Talk about the library and all that.
Yeah, just, again, I mean, we bring this up every year, but the empty downtown stores, what we're gonna do with those. Hopefully we can,
Well, and the business, the business thing too.
yeah, make that a
Registration.
priority.
Business registration.
Which Sarah has taken, I guess I could have updated you on that. Sarah has, and Trevor and a couple other people have, how many companies have you had presentations from?
I think I've done 7 demos.
7 demos
Oh, for the business license?
for business licensing, so we are working on that. So.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't have anything else. I'm about spent for the day, so
Yeah.
I'm good.
I'm with you.
All right, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We don't have to adjourn. Yeah, we
Nope,
did.
you don't
We
need a
have to
motion.
adjourn.
It's a study session.
We're not-
Oh, all right.